Assembling the output shaft. Make sure the locator ball bearing is in position and the spacer is properly positioned so the cutout on the spacer is in alignment with the locator ball. Lubricate the bearing surface with the same type of gear oil that is specified for this transaxle. If you have not already done so, inspect the needle bearings. Roll each needle as you visually inspect it for wear. After the bearing inspection, lubricate it and install it onto the output shaft. Lubricate the bearing surface of first gear and install it onto the output shaft. We will use my favorite tool kit for transaxle assembly. This is the Easy Driver Kit by ATM. I'm not affiliated with ATM and they have not sponsored any of my videos. I just love this tool. This kit has a large selection of adapters along with 3 different length installation tubes that can be connected if needed. The adapter we need has to fit properly on the center boss of the hub. The inside diameter must fit over the shaft. The pipe adapter needs to be long enough to clear the end of the output shaft, then the forcing button fits onto the other end. Use plenty of oil to lubricate the blocker ring and gear. Install a blocker ring onto first gear. When installing the hub onto the shaft, make sure the side of the hub with the short boss height faces the gear. Make sure to properly align the splines on the hub with the splines on the shaft. Align the blocker ring tab with the key cutout on the hub. After pressing the hub onto the shaft, first gear should have a small amount of thrust movement. Place the press adapter onto the shaft against the hub. If you don't have a press, you could use a hammer to install the hub. Since I have a press, my preference is that all of my students use the press. As a trick, I will flip everything over and use gravity to keep the blocker ring in proper alignment with the hub during installation. Because I flipped everything upside down, the spacer is no longer in position with the locator ball. This can be solved by using some assembly gel, grease, or Vaseline to hold the washer in place while you press on the hub. The gel or grease will melt when the oil gets hot, and it won't harm anything. This is what it looks like on the press when it's ready to be pressed on. The installation tool is resting on a single plate and it is centered within the ram. Double check that the blocker ring and the spacer is also in proper position. Apply ram force to install the hub. While pressing on the hub, constantly check first gear thrust movement. Very slowly apply the ram force until first gear thrust is a few thousandths of an inch. Use your feeler gauge to measure the thrust to see if it's within specification. The snap ring now needs to be installed. Check to make sure the gear spins freely and make sure the blocker ring moves freely. Check that the snap ring will fit in the groove. This is a selectable snap ring. You may need a different size, or you may need to adjust the hub position while keeping first gear thrust within specifications. Rest the snap ring in the groove. Use a large screwdriver and find the sweet spot in the center of the snap ring. Use a hammer and give the end of the screwdriver a good smack to install the snap ring. An alternative to using a screwdriver is this homemade 5/8 snap ring install tool made out of 1/2 inch wide rectangular steel with a circular grind on one end. I heat treated each end to harden the metal. This tool is a little easier to use when installing 5/8 snap rings than using a screwdriver. This tool is used just like the screwdriver, but it's easier to manage and center onto the snap ring. After installation, you should inspect the snap ring to make sure that it is properly seated within the groove. It's now time to assemble the synchronizer. Install the spring and slide the key in. Use a small screwdriver to depress the spring while sliding the key into position. Repeat this process for the other two springs and keys. The sleeve can now be installed. Take care during installation, making sure to align the cutouts with the key slots and install the sleeve in the proper direction so the reverse gear teeth are up. It is possible to install the sleeve upside down. You will need to use a small screwdriver to gently depress each key one at a time while applying gentle pressure downward onto the sleeve. Once the keys have been aligned with the synchronizer, the sleeve will slide onto the hub. Do not slide the sleeve up because the keys will pop out of position and you will have to start over.